Hey everyone, this is Callum Balliang, the Community Engagement Coordinator with the Rocky Mountain Field Institute, with another episode of Shovel Stories, the podcast where we talk to RMFI's great partners, volunteers, and staff about the work they do with us and why they do it, bringing you behind the scenes with those who keep Southern Colorado's trails and public lands thriving. Today, I'm so happy to introduce RMFI's new Executive Director, Jess Verplank, a Colorado native who grew up in the San Luis Valley with the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and the Great Sand Dunes as her backyard. An upbringing that shaped a lifelong connection to the wild places and has spent decades on the trails, peaks, and backcountry of Colorado, bringing years of nonprofit leadership experience in operations, fundraising, and team building. We are so excited to have you with us as part of the team. Jess, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we can start easy here. I just want to know what your favorite way to spend a day outside is.
It really depends on the day, but I think my favorite way of being in the outdoors is bike packing. I love to bike pack like a multi-day route, exploring new places while being self-propelled and self-sufficient. I find that really empowering to be able to carry all my own food and all my tent and all of the gear that I need, and then camping each night. I've experienced some of the most amazing places from my bike, and I appreciate that way of traveling so much just because it's not like I'm racing. I'm stopping and smelling the roses. We went to Vermont for a 5-day bike packing trip, and we were able to like stop at the cider mills and like in the countryside and have a apple cider donut along this whole cider.
Delicious.
Yes. Yeah. So I think overall that's my favorite way to experience and spend a day in the outdoors, but also camping with my family is very fun too.
I love that. How fun. We have so many special places. You can bike pack in Colorado. Do you have a favorite snack? What's your grab bag?
Like by checking some like the nerd gummies.
Oh, so good. I love those.
Yeah, there was this woman on Instagram that said that nerd gummies had the same amount of carbs and salt as some of our like very expensive sport gummies that we buy. And so I was like, I'm sold. I'm just gonna buy nerds, and that's what I'm gonna have on all my trips. So
And they taste a little bit better too. I love it. So you've grown around spectacular public lands and you spend a lot of time recreating in them, working in our parks and our forests in the Pikes Peak region. Why is caring for our public lands important to you on a personal level?
I think that's a great question. Being on the trails all the time, I watched Rempe's trail and restoration work from the outside, and I recognized how like aligned it was with my own values around stewardship, the volunteers, and youth engagement as well, and education, which made stepping into the ED role feel like a continuation of my passion rather than a pivot into something very different. I've had interactions with Rempe's staff, which I find that everyone is very lovely throughout the times that we've worked together in the past, and I really enjoyed connecting with them. I also saw that there was a lot of intention behind the most recent strategic plan, and that made me super excited for the future of RMP's organization and where RMP is going.
I love that. And you think about kind of as you step into this role and we're thinking about those things that connected you to Ripley's mission, which I what are you most excited about?
I think it's been a fantastic step in continuing to work with the outdoor industry professionals and connections that I already had, and then continuing to meet more people in this arena, more people and more partners. I'm excited to be the face of RMFI in the community. It's very exciting. And also bring more awareness to our mission in the community as it continues to grow and the number of our trail users continues to grow. Colorado Springs is not getting any smaller. There's people moving in, there's people moving out. And so I think our story is something that constantly needs to be told and awareness brought to what we're doing. Next year, we'll start working on our next strategic plan, which I'm very excited to see where we can go and what the future holds for RMP. It's a very exciting time. RMP is a strong organization, and I'm just super lucky to be part of it.
Oh, I feel the same. Just so lucky to be here and be able to do these things as for a living, caring for our trails, caring for those spaces, for those that live here, those that visit here, and those who will live here at some point, or maybe that is still important to that did live here at some point and no longer are living in Colorado Springs. But it's one of those where we go with that is, we think about that future. You mentioned our strategic plan, and kind of how we grow, how we continue to steward these places. It's been almost 45 years since we started in 1982. We're coming up on that 45-year mark here. What do you hope people in our communities will see or experience because of this work that we do at RIP?
I think they'll be able to see more trails that are sustainably built and maintained because of how much we care about all of that. Healthier watersheds and ecosystems in the Pikes Peak region, as well as southern Colorado. We have a very high standard here at Renfi, and I know that that will continue. I think it's really important for more young people to get hands-on experience in this work, especially those who might not otherwise have access to it. I have a very a strong passion towards getting the kids into the outdoors. Um, Nowadays, they aren't spending that much time out there, and they're our future. They're the ones that are going to be, being the stewards and maintaining these trails. And so I think it's so important for them to be part of this and get their hands dirty and, just get them out into it. I think it's also creating more positive partnerships in the community that allows us to get more work done and more community education and stewardship.
Oh, absolutely. Getting folks out there, or so that use those trails. You're going to work on places you're going to, walk over, that you're going to bike over. It's so special to have cared for that spot, and it's such a special experience. Or even the kids, when I'm out in the parks with the kiddos, I'm always like, oh, bring your family back, bring your friend back, bring, depending on the age of the kids, whether they're gonna come back with, by themselves or with a parent is, different. But always that kind of spot, like, "Oh, help share with someone," so hopefully they come back to that park, hopefully they make that connection, to be able to care for that spot or just, being able to come back and, care for it and think it's a special place.
Yeah, just the experience of some of the kids that don't have the access to it, getting into the outdoors, getting onto the trails,
Yeah.
and also taking part in caring for them. I think that's a huge, huge, awesome opportunity for them. And then they can bring their friends out and not only just go experience it, but say, hey, I worked on this trail and this is why we did this. And, I think it's just really exciting.
Yeah, and hopefully they just, have fun and
Mhm.
enjoy it, like, "Oh, this place is really cool, I wanna go back and, come back and have fun." That's, what it's all about, go back and enjoy, have these spaces to just be these special parks that we have. I love it.
Great.
Yeah. For someone who's interested in Rempe but hasn't taken that first step yet, hasn't come out on a day, maybe they haven't experienced it yet, what would you like them to know?
There's no necessary experience. No specific skills required, just curiosity and a willingness to show up. I think the volunteers can feel overwhelmed at some
Yep.
point, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so crazy and I don't have the right shoes or I don't, really we just want to meet our volunteers where they're at, whether it's a single day that they come out and experience working on the trails with us or, checking out different stewardship options or really they can become lifelong volunteers for us. So I want them to know that, it's it's just really important to take these opportunities. It could change mindsets in our in our community. And for people that use the trails all the time, I think sometimes we can get in this mentality that we're just frustrated that something's not being done,
Yeah.
right?
You see the same thing all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really think I urge those people that come get your, come get a shovel, come work with us,
Yeah.
come make a difference yourself. Because the more of us that we can complain as much as we want, but if we're not willing to get our hands dirty, I think it's very important for us to put ourselves in that position and come out and do some trail work because we cannot do this by ourselves, and we need volunteers to help, create more of the mission experiences and further our mission as well.
Yeah, without our community, we're here to serve the community. The community uses our spaces. We want them to be there, whether it's from a day with Rimpy that's tree planting to being up on the backside of Pikes Peak at tree line with us. There's a little bit of everything in between. Not everything's super intense day, so there's always something to come out and do. Depending on the time of year with us, there's always something different. A different park we're in, different type of project we're doing. There's so many fun things.
There is. I mean, even Gill Trail that we're working on near Denvers, for with Trout Unlimited as our partners with that. I think that's really important. There's a lot of people that love to fish. This is creating better access and also just taking care of that area out there. We have lots of volunteer places there or positions there. And so I think that would be a fun way to also get out near that area. So
Yeah, we're not always up there, in that area, so I think it's a really fun spot where you can come from Denver and participate with us. If you're kind of a little bit more in the, I guess we have Sedalia, Duckers, Buffalo Creek, all up in there, like, places where Rippy isn't always, so having that opportunity up there is really special. So I totally agree. Then we have kind of looking ahead. What are you most excited about in Rigby's future? After, being, like we said, almost 45 years, there's still so much to do. There'll be more projects in the future. There's so many things that we could do. What are you excited about?
absolutely. This is going into my 6th week here, so still gaining to be fluctuating. It is. But I see really huge opportunities for expanding our educational um, it says educational opportunities and deepen restoration partnerships in the region. Um, there's so much more work that can be done that we can do, and I think again that next generation always pops up into my mind about how can we continue to educate them, but also I'm like not putting it past the people that are not the youngest, but the ones that still want to make an impact and care for our land. And so I still think there's so much more opportunity for education and then just working more within Southern Colorado and getting out there to these cool places like Deckers and, Southern Colorado and the Sand Grays and all the places that are just the most beautiful, beautiful experiences we have here.
Yeah, we've been caring for the Sangres since the early '90s, and a lot of the routes down there, everything from Crestone Needle, Kit Carson, Challenger Point, Blanca, even. We've cared for a lot of those places, and so we do look forward to going back and stewarding those spots that need a little bit of love. And sometimes it's just those beautiful views, the beautiful trail, just need a little something here and there.
Mount Blanco was my first 14.
Oh, wow. That's a bit of a long 14er for sure.
It was, but it was just such an adventure. It makes me think of bikepacking now. Just getting out there and getting above tree line as I think I was 14. Oh my God. When I did my, I was 14 there, but we just had this group that took us up there and it was, I carried SpaghettiOs in my backpack because I had no idea
Yeah,
to
race. That's awesome.
for a trip like that. But yeah, what an experience at that age for me to be able to go up and experience a 14er and get out there and see the snowfields and it was just amazing.
Can't even imagine experiencing that at that age. That would have been so wonderful. I grew growing up in Detroit, we don't have, we don't have Blanca out there. So I did not get that, but that's so cool. I love the spaghettio snack. It's a great carb option. And a couple of our years down in the Sangres, they have outward bound trips there, and the groups of usually about high school age would come out, and as they kind of did the route over the Sangres, they would stop and work with us for a few hours. It was just so much with it, right? They've had their backpacks on for days. They've been out on this expedition. We're like, hey, stop and do some trail work. But what a fun, special thing. You're already on this huge trip and this huge adventure, and then stopping to do a little bit of work with us. This talus fields and everything. Was always so cool to see those kids come out and having quite the day, and still being able to come out and steward a little bit with us is so cool.
Yeah, what a good experience.
Yeah, we've got so much in the future. Renfrew has so many places to go. So this is not the last conversation with Jess. We'll be back, talking about we have fun things going on. Anytime in the future, we'll bring Jess back, kind of talk about what is Renfrew up to, what's on the docket, what are we doing this year, what's next on our thing. But for today, what you know. Those great outdoor experiences, they always come with a story, like Blanca and the SpaghettiOs. I will never forget that. Our connection with some of those things is just the funniest day on the trail, or some of those days there's a little type 2 fun, or type 2.5, I like to call it, where even though it's fun now, there's still a little misery in there. What's your favorite outdoor place, trail in Colorado? And why does it hold a special place for you?
Yeah, growing up with like the sand dunes and the Sangre Cristo Mountains out my front door, I was super lucky, but you take it for granted when you're young. You're like, okay, but really like Zapata Falls up in the San Luis Valley.
Yeah.
I was just so taken aback by having to walk in the creek and get my shoes wet, and I'd have to walk, you walk in the creek, the trail's, like, right along the edge, and depending on the water levels, there's not even a trail. You just
Oh, wow.
walk up in it, and we used to go there in the summertime, and you cool off a little bit and then get down there, and just the way that the water moved through the canyon and shaped it as, the years went by, but also climbing back there when it was icy and frozen in the winter. That just brings back some of those. It felt like home, and still, like, that nostalgia of, like,
Mhm.
going back to that location and just remembering, like, we used to hike up above it and see if we could see where the water was going down, and just such an adventure and an outdoor curiosity when I was young, and so it takes me back, to think about that and about just those outdoor experiences that have shaped us, and I'm just so appreciative, especially being around water in Colorado.
Yeah,
Because
it's not everywhere.
around, so it was really cool just to experience that and get my feet wet, and
Literally.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
and I would be freezing by the time we were done, and then we would jump. There's, like, a little holding pond after the creek comes down, so we would hike up to the waterfall, and then we'd come back, and then we'd jump into the little holding pond,
so
swim around and be shivering
oh my
with mountains of water.
yes. Oh, so cool.
Yeah, so that is just, like, my place. It just reminds me of home.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, I love it so much, and I've heard of it, but I haven't been. So next time I'm in the area, I'll have to go and be able to also kind of see all these fun, special things that you've described. I really like it. But thanks so much for sharing a little bit of these thoughts about your stepping into this role with Grimfee and what kind of your vision for the future is. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for spending the time, and we're again so happy to have Jess as part of our team.
Thank you. I really appreciate you talking with me today.
Yeah, thank you.